Okay, as a reminder, please prompt participants to press *3 for any questions or comments. As soon as you hear the prompt that says music hold ended, your call will be live and you can begin speaking. Have a great call, everybody. You'll be live in 3, 2, 1.
Music hold ended.
Hello, I'm Dana Marie Kennedy, AARP Arizona State Director. Thank you for joining us today and participating in this teletown hall. With the primary elections just a few weeks away on Tuesday, July 30th, we want to make sure you know how to cast your ballot in this important election. And I also want to stress again the word how. We're not here today to tell you how to vote or who to vote for. We're here to make sure you have the information you need to be able to cast your ballot for whomever you want to vote for. You can find out more information on the where and when and how to vote by visiting our state election guide at aarp.org/AZVotes. As a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization, AARP is in your corner fighting for the issues that matter to you, including protecting your hard-earned Social Security and achieving common-sense solutions that will help Arizona's family caregivers save time and money and provide them with more support. We know that voters 50-plus decide elections, and they are the majority of voters in every election. In Arizona, approximately 1.6 million voters 50-plus casted ballots in the 2022 election. The primary election in Arizona is your opportunity to make your voice heard. So again, we are here today to make sure you have the information you need to be able to cast your ballot. Joining us now is one of the many people responsible for making sure Arizona has clean elections and fair elections. From the Arizona Clean Elections Commission, thank you for joining us, Mr. Avery Zola, Voter Education Program Manager. If you are just joining us, this is an AARP Teletown Hall on when, where, and how to vote in Arizona. We're joined by Avery Zola from the Arizona Clean Elections Commission. This is an interactive call, and we'd like to hear from you. If you'd like to ask a question, please press *3. That's *3 on the telephone keypad to connect with an AARP staff member who will note your name and your question. The sooner you press *3, the sooner you'll be online with our guests. So let's get started. For close to 40 years, AARP has been working hard during elections to provide information to our members and the public on when, where, and how to vote, and the candidate's position on your policy priorities. AARP does not endorse candidates or elected officials, give money to PACs or candidates or elected officials, or tell you who to vote for. AARP does raise visibility on issues that matter to people 50-plus, work across political lines, inform candidates of issues that matter to most people 50-plus, provide factual information on when, where, and how to vote. Before we begin, Avery and I would like to get a better picture of who we have joining us tonight. So I'd like to ask our callers a quick question, and please listen to the 3 answers and your options before responding. The question: how do you plan to vote in the upcoming primary election? 1, are you voting by mail? 2, are you voting early in an in-person location? Or do you plan to vote in person at a polling location on election day? Press 1 on your telephone keypad if you plan to vote by mail. Press 2 on your telephone keypad if you plan to use early voting in an in-person location. Or press 3 on your telephone keypad if you plan to vote in person on election day. Again, press 1 for voting by mail, 2 for voting early at an in-person location, or press 3 for voting at your polling location on election day. We'll share these poll results shortly. But now I'd like to give Avery an opportunity to say a few words. Avery, this must be a very busy and critical time for your office.
Yes, it is, Dan, and thank you for the introduction. We have a lot to vote on as Arizonans for the primary election that leads us into the general election. So I just wanted to give a rundown of what we all can expect on our primary ballot. So as you know, we're going to have the U.S. Senate race on there. There's going to be U.S. House of Representative candidates that we'll be sending to Congress. We're going to be electing 9 candidates to serve in the U.S. House of Congress So that's very important. A lot of important votes to be cast in that particular race. There's a corporation commission, which is the only state race going on this year. There are 3 seats up for election in that race. We have, of course, our legislators, the state Senate and the state House. Those seats are up for election. And there's a retention election with judges with expiring terms. And these are going to be on the back of your ballot. So when you vote down ballot, you'll get to the retention election. And it's for the Arizona Supreme Court and the appellate courts. There's also school board elections, right? And then we have municipal government elections, which are city, town, and county elections. There may be recalls. There are going to be lots of ballot measures, which are proposition initiatives, referendums, things of that nature, and also local ballot measures. So be on the lookout for that. Be sure to make a plan to vote and to fill down your ballot.
Excellent. Thank you so much. As mentioned earlier, this is an interactive call. So if you would like to ask a question about voting in the Arizona primary election at any time during the call, just press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected to an AARP staff member who will note your name and question and place you in the queue. The sooner you press *3, the sooner you'll be back online to ask questions directly to our guest. Again, this is Dana Kennedy, State Director for AARP. And I also have on the phone with me Avery from Arizona Clean Elections. And Avery, could you please share some insights into the measures that Arizona Clean Elections Commission has in place to ensure integrity and security of our elections?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Citizens Clean Elections Act, which created our agency, was passed by voters in 1998. We are administered by a 5-member nonpartisan commission. The act created a system for voter education for the state of Arizona, clean funding for candidate campaigns, and we also are the campaign finance enforcement body for Arizona. So the clean in clean elections, it refers to the public financing option for candidates. So candidates are able to run without anonymous donations, nonprofits, or secret donors. And our agency is also the state's campaign finance enforcement for both clean candidates and traditional candidates. Lastly, I would say we ensure the integrity and security of elections by educating voters on the election processes and also informing voters on how to communicate with their local officials.
Thank you, Avery. And can you tell us when is the last day to register to request a mail-in ballot for the Arizona July primary election?
Yes, these are very important dates. So July 1st is the voter registration deadline. Remember you have to re-register vote if you change your address, your political party, or your name. So if any of those changes, please re-register. It doesn't cost anything to register. July 1st is that voter registration deadline. Then by July 19th is going to be your last day to request a ballot by mail. You will, if you're not on the active early voting list, what you'll want to do is contact your county recorder and request a ballot. So make sure you contact your county recorder and request a ballot by July 19th. And then, of course, lastly, the primary election date will be July 30th. And the polls are going to be open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Great, thank you. And again, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, please press *3 on your telephone keypad. And how can voters know that their ballot was officially counted?
Yeah, sure, Dana. This is actually a question that we get asked a lot, and some people don't know about this. But if you go to my.arizona.vote, you can check the date your ballot was sent to you. You can check the date your ballot was returned and received by your county recorder. You're going to be able to look at whether your ballot was accepted and if your signature was verified. Further, both Maricopa and Pima County have a web page and a text messaging service to track your ballot. So if you're in either one of those counties, you could also benefit from those services. Also, you can go to the Secretary of State's website and actually sign up for their ballot tracking service at trackmyballot.azsos.gov.
Excellent. And Alex, do we have any questions so far?
We do, Dana. We have several people in the queue, so we can go take some questions, and then we can come back to those. So thank you so much, Dana, for hosting. Avery, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate the work that Arizona Clean Elections does for Arizona residents and voters. So thank you so much for your participation in today's telethon hall. We also have the results, so we'll come back to the results. So right now, let's go to our first question. Our first question comes from Norma. Norma, I believe, is in South Phoenix. So Norma, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm in Phoenix on 48th Street.
Oh, very good. Excellent. Well, thank you. Please go ahead with your question.
I want to know, where do I go to vote?
Very important. Where to go to vote?
So that's an excellent question, Norma. So where you can go to vote is, where you can find out where to go to vote is, if you have internet access, you can actually go to the AZ Clean Elections website. We have a voter dashboard where you put in your full address, and it'll tell you all your polling locations, drop-box locations, and things of that, and it'll also tell you what to expect on your ballot. If you do not have online services or internet service, you can just contact your county recorder. Just give them a call, and they have a list of voting locations.
Okay.
Excellent.
So Avery,
great question.
It sounds like, Avery, it sounds like she lives in Maricopa County, so she would go to the Maricopa County Recorder, correct?
Correct. Yes, Maricopa County Recorder's Office is who you want to contact.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, great question, Norman. Thank you for your participation and for voting. We appreciate you. Thank you. Next, Avery, we're going to go to, I believe it's in Kingman. And in Kingman, we have Connolly. The last name is Connolly, I believe. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, go right ahead, please.
Okay. My question is, I read somewhere that the Corporation Commission votes, when they were counted, one Republican was picked, one Democrat was picked, and then a committee of some kind picked the third candidate. I want to know if that is true.
I am not familiar with that question, so I really couldn't answer that. What you could do is contact the commission or go to the commission's website and see who the current candidates are. You could also see who the current candidates are on the Clean Elections website. But I'm not familiar with the storyline behind that particular, how they were chosen, or how they were picked.
And that was the Corporation Commission?
Yeah, Corporation
Commission. Yeah.
The Corporation Commission.
Yeah, the Corporation
Commission
right now, the makeup is, I believe, 4 Republicans and 1 Democrat, and they are elected by popular vote by the people. But not all Corporation commissioners are up for election every year. There are, I think there's 2 corporation commissioners that are up for election this year, but we can confirm that by the end of this call.
Yeah, there are actually 3 seats up for election this year. You're right. I misunderstood the question. Yes, there are 3 seats up for election this year for the Corporation Commission.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, thank you. Corporation Commission does great work as well. So thank you for your question all the way from Kingman. And next, let's see, we have Len. Len, let's see, in Litchfield, I believe. Len is located. Len, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Go right ahead, Len.
The great majority of our members of our legislature are elected in primaries. The general election is almost irrelevant in many of our districts. I'm in Legislative District 29. It is absolutely true. I have very few choices in electing our state legislators. That is an abysmal situation. Any recommendations that we can move forward to rectify the current system, which is so undemocratic?
Well, the primary has been, you're right, the primary is basically where we elect our candidates for the general election. The unfortunate problem is generally primaries have a low turnout. So you have a small portion of voters who are actually choosing who we all will vote for the general election. So the only thing that I can suggest, and it's something that Clean Elections is definitely taking part of, is trying to increase the voter turnout for the primary election. So I would just advise you to, tell your friends, families, and neighbors, people in your community, if there's any get out to vote programs or anything like that, participate in that. And it's just really of inspiring people to get out there and participate in the election in the primary.
And I'll just add one additional thing to that, Avery. As far as voting in the primaries is really important. And usually if you're registered as a Republican, you will get a Republican ballot. If you're registered as a Democrat, you will get a Democrat ballot. And in Arizona, about a third of our voters are actually voted or registered as nonpartisan or independent voters. So you can vote in the primary. You just need to decide what ballot you would like to choose, either Democrat or Republican or Green Party or one of the other party, Libertarian Party, and you can actually vote in the primaries. I believe that a lot of people don't understand that if you're registered as an independent, that you can vote in the primary. You just need to decide what ballot you want, what party you want to vote for.
Right. That's a good point, Dan. Thank you. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Len, for your question. Always on point there with Len. Thank you so much. Dana, we don't have any other questions, so hopefully people, take some courage and ask a question to Avery. He's eager to answer your question. So please remember, press *3, and the sooner that you do that, you'll be online. You'll be able to ask a question to Avery. Avery, I'm going to go over the poll results, and if you don't mind, let me know what your thoughts are here. So on the question about are you voting by mail, we have 67% of the respondents that said yes, they will vote by mail. Are you voting early at an in-person location? 6%. And then do you plan to vote in person at a polling location on election day? 28%. How do these numbers vary from what you've seen in the past, Avery?
They're pretty similar. We usually see the larger portion of voters voting by mail, but there are people that traditionally they prefer to vote on election day, which is fine. Right. I think that the answer to the poll is really just a testament of the many options that Arizona has for voters to participate in the election. So with our elections, you can vote in person, you can vote early in person, you can vote by mail, you can vote on election day. We have ballot drop boxes, vote centers, many different ways for you to cast your ballot. Just be sure to make a plan to vote and make sure you're registered. But yeah, I think we just have lots of different options for voters in the state.
Thank you, Avery. Fantastic. And I'm going to follow up. And thank you so much for taking those questions, Alex. Again, this is Dana Kennedy, State Director for AARP Arizona. And if you would like to ask a question of myself or Avery, please press *3. And Avery, I have another additional question for you. What if voters hold on to their ballot and it's election day? Can they still mail it, or should they do something else?
Yes, this is an excellent question. If you have your ballot, for some reason, if you weren't able to mail your ballot back by the July 23rd deadline, hold on to your ballot and drop it off at a drop box, or on election day, just take it and drop it off. You can drop it off at a ballot drop box before 7 p.m., or just take it into a vote center and drop it off. You also can do that, but make sure that the back is signed, and it also has your telephone number so they can do, if they have to do signature verification. But yes, take your ballot into the polling location and drop it off. And also I should add, don't not bring your ballot and vote also, because it'll look like you have 2 votes. You won't have 2 votes, but it'll look like that for a second until they've realized that you did not vote the mail-in ballot and you decided to vote in person. So again, you have your mail-in ballot on election day, take it to the voting location or your polling location and drop it off. Just make sure it's signed.
So Avery, I get this question a lot, especially in Arizona from my colleagues across the country. So those people who take their ballot to the polling location on election day, what's the process for their vote to count? Like, why does it take so long for our ballots to be counted after the election?
Yes, well, how I understand it, usually the early ballots come in and they're started to be tallied, but then on election day, that has to stop and they have to start focusing on the ballots that are in on election day. And once those are counted, then they go back and start counting in the early ballots that have came in. So it's just a process, and I've found that over the past few years that it's actually taking longer to count the votes. So in some cases, races weren't called for about 2 weeks, so after the election was over. So I would just ask that we be patient and just know that The official election results are from the Secretary of State's office on the election canvas, and that's what you will use to know, to understand who has won their office. So that is the final count of the official canvas.
Yeah, it's my understanding that when you drop off your ballot on election day, they take all those ballots and they're taken to the county recorder of where you vote,
Oh, yeah.
and then they verify all the signatures first.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So it takes time, is what yes, it does take a little time, but they are verifying your signatures on your ballots and things like that, but it does take a little time. So be patient. Please be patient.
Thank you. And if you are voting in person, when do polls open and when do they close?
Yeah, polls open at 6 a.m. and they close at 7. If you are in line during, at 7 or, if you're still in line, you will be allowed to vote. But unfortunately, if you come up there after 7, you get in line, you won't be allowed to vote. So make sure you're in line before 7 and you will be allowed to cast your vote. So 6 a.m. to 7 p.m.
And again, how can you find out where to cast an in-person ballot?
You can go to our website, Clean Elections, that's azcleanelections.gov, and we have our voter dashboard. If you put in your address, it will give you a bevy of information as far as voting locations, voting centers, drop box locations, and we also have your county contact information as well. If you don't have access to internet, please contact your county recorder or county elections department. They have a list of all available polling locations and vote centers. Give them your address, and they'll be able to pull up the closest voting location near you.
Great, thank you so much. And as I mentioned earlier, this is an interactive call, so if you'd like to ask a question about voting in the July 30th primary at any time during our call, just press *3 on your telephone keypad to be connected with an AARP staff member who will note your name and question and place you in the queue. Again, the sooner you press *3, the sooner you'll be back online and able to ask a question directly to our guest. And Alex, do we have any additional questions?
We do, Dana. A couple more came in. One is from Beverly in Mesa, and she just, if we could please remind people when the cutoff date to request a vote by mail ballot is. Can you please let us know, Avery, the cutoff date?
Absolutely. You want to request your ballot by July 19th. July 19th is the last day to request your ballot by mail. July 23rd is the last day that you have to mail your ballot back because you want to give at least 7 days to get to the recorders or to the tabulation center on election day. So July 19th is the last day to request your ballot by mail.
Okay, excellent, very good. And we have another question that came in from Liliana in Phoenix, and she may, let's see if she's connected, but I believe her question was just to how to track the ballot. Avery said it's too fast. If you can please repeat again, Avery, how to track the ballot, but that was her question. Liliana, are you on?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
was that the correct question?
Yes. How do we track the ballot?
That is an excellent question. I wish more people asked that question. You can track your ballot at my.arizona.vote. It is a state website where you can track your ballot. On the website, my.arizona.vote, you can check to see if the date your ballot was sent to you. You can check to see the date your ballot was returned and received by the recorder. You get to see if your ballot was accepted and the signature was verified. Also, if you were in Maricopa or Pima, they also have a web page and a text messaging service that you can track your ballot. Outside of that, the Secretary of State has a website for tracking the ballot as well, called trackmyballot.azsos.gov. And I'll say it again, trackmyballot.azsos.gov. So there are a variety of ways to actually track your ballot, but I would say the main one would be the my.arizona.vote. So that's the one most people, I would say, use.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Great question.
Thank you for the question. We appreciate that, Liliana. And we have one last person that's still being screened at this point. So let's do our second poll. Our second poll basically is we'd like to ask a question here to see. Press 1 on your telephone keypad if you answer yes to voting yes, I know who I'm voting for in the United States Senate. So if you know who you're voting for, press 1. And no, I am still undecided in the United States Senate race. So again, press 1 if you know who you're voting for the United States Arizona Senate. And then number 2, press 2 is if you're still undecided, please press 2. And then we'll give the results in just a couple of minutes there. Let's see if we have, nope, we're still a little bit waiting for another person. 1 second here. And it's actually Len that would like to, how can he change the rules from primary election instead of general elections?
Exactly.
Does that make sense?
How can the rules change?
How can we change the rules for primary election instead of general elections?
If I understand the question correctly, anything that changes elections is something that is going to have to go through the legislature and also the Secretary of State when they make the elections procedure manual. But to change the primary election, it's codified actually in the Arizona statute. So this will be something that the legislature and public officials will have to get together and hash out to change if there would be any changes to how we have our primary or general elections in Arizona. So contact your legislature is what I would say on that.
Yeah, exactly. Comes down to that. Very good. Okay, and we have some results for the poll. Vote yes if you know who you're voting for in the United States Senate. 89% of the callers said that they know who they're voting for. And number 2, if you're undecided for the U.S. Senate race, 11% are undecided still. What do you think of those numbers?
I mean, it sounds on par. Generally, most voters know kind of idea who they are voting for, and you always have some that are undecided. But what I would say is even if you know who you are voting for, between July 1st and July 30th, you have 29 days to get informed. Clean Elections has debates, voter education guides, and things like that for you to, get more informed with the candidates. And I also recommend visiting the candidate's website, looking at the candidate's social media profiles, and see if their issues align with yours. That's what I would say. But yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Avery. And Dana, we have one more person that's being screened. That's Kathleen in Tucson. Actually, two that are just came in. So let's give it just a couple minutes. Do we have any other questions that you have for Avery?
Actually, I do. So, Avery, tell us about the debates that the Clean Elections Commission hosts. Is it for all candidates or just some candidates?
So Clean Elections is responsible for informing Arizonans about state and legislative candidates. However, our debates have opened up this year. We have included some county offices, so the Maricopa and the Pima County Sheriff's Office. We will have a debate, and the Maricopa and Pima County Attorney's Office, we will have a debate. So those two debates, but we also do debates for all the congressional districts, all the legislative districts that have an opponent, and of course state. The only statewide race we have this year is, again, as we mentioned earlier, is going to be the Corporation Commission. But yeah, the debates they're streamed on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch them anytime to get more informed about a particular candidate. And our voter education guide also has information to the candidate's website. They have a bio, a 100-word bio, and a 200-word statement. That's also something that you could use to get better informed about the candidates. But the debates this year have been phenomenal. I encourage you to watch them, to check them out. You can watch them all at our YouTube channel where they're stored or archived, but all the debates are streamed live, and it's an excellent way to get informed. And I should mention that if you go to our website and go to our debates page, there's a way for you to submit a question directly to the candidates, and the moderators will ask the questions. All of our debate questions are compiled and are consistent of voter questions. So please feel free to contact us and submit a question to your candidate.
I was going to ask you that, actually, if you wanted to ask a question for the candidates, how you would do that. So could you share that information again as far as if our members would like to submit a question to the candidates?
Yeah, if you go to our debates page, it's basically azcleanelections.gov/debates, or if you just type in debates, you'll see it. But on our debates page, there's actually a little button where you can go and you'll be able to submit a question to the debate. I'm actually pulling up the page. So it's like the first yellow button. You hit submit question, and it goes there. Also on this page, it'll have a number for you to call as well. So there's a variety of ways that we have for you to contact us about the debate, but please go to the website, and that's the best way probably for you to get your question in to us.
Great, thank you so much.
Excellent. Dana, we're ready for the question. We can go straight to Tucson, and we have Kathleen in Tucson. Can you hear us?
Yes.
I'll go right ahead with your question.
Well, it was, since I'm very senior and I've been in Tucson, not in the city, I'm in Pima County, but I noticed that in their campaigns, which we read the paragraphs and all this very closely, how we seniors seem to disappear. That's kind of a given. And I wanted to know, I think someone just answered this, but if this particular candidate has done anything for seniors or recognizes seniors or is any way involved in seniors. Is that a good question?
Well, and are you saying, how do you find out if a candidate does anything for seniors or has like a platform for the elderly?
Correct.
Yeah, again, I would go and refer to their bio where they talk about their life. I would refer to their statements in the voter education guide where they're going to declare the things that are most important to them. I would also look at their website. Generally on candidates' website, they're going to list out the things that their vision for Arizona, the things most important to them. And you also want to look at maybe their pictures that they have for their campaign photos. They have some elderly people in there. Are they going to town halls, engaging with the elderly or senior citizens? These are all the things that we need to be paying attention to when we're looking at a candidate before we give a candidate our vote. And finally, after the candidate gets elected, we want to hold the candidate accountable and make sure that they are still championing our issues, our issues for our senior citizens in Arizona. We want to make sure that, they're still focused on that. So I would just say, research the candidate and see if you see things that stand out, like that they actually, are concerned about the elderly community.
Okay, if they don't have a website, where do you go?
So if they don't have a website, they should have some kind of way for you to contact them. If it's a social media, Facebook, Twitter, some way. And if they don't have a website or any way to contact them, that's probably a telling sign. So most candidates that want your vote are going to want a way to communicate with their constituents, because how else are they going to know what the voters are asking for? So I would say check out their social media page. You can do a Google search, things like that, if they don't have a website, but social media.
Okay.
Yeah, you can also go to www.azsos.gov. That's az.sos.gov. And that will also give you information regarding all the candidates that are registered on their election page. So usually all the candidates' contact information is on azsos.gov.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, and lastly, you could always check with the Arizona parties. So the Republican Party, the Democratic Party. If you want more information on a candidate, reach out to them, and they will give you their contact information or give you the information about the candidate. So that's also a good resource.
Well, Arizona is a little behind the times. What was that website about the SOS again?
azsos.gov.
Is it az.sos?
No, I apologize. It's azsos.gov.
Okay.
And you can also go to aarp.org/azvotes. That's aarp.org/azvotes. We also put a lot of information on our election website that will also direct you to the Secretary of State as well as Clean Elections website, as well as all the important dates.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And Kathleen, be on the lookout, Kathleen, with our AARP bulletin, which is our kind of like a newspaper that gets sent out on a monthly basis to our members.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
There's information. Yes, and especially in the month of October, you will see, I believe it's for the Senate race, there will be critical questions that are being asked for the Senate candidates on topics or issues that affect the 50-plus, including Social Security, Medicare, questions about caregiving, things like that. Mm-hmm. So important things that we all need to know about. So thank you so much for your question, Kathleen.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for participating. Dana, we have no more questions on the queue at this time.
All righty. Well, it looks like we're nearing the end of our time for this call. AARP Arizona would like to thank Avery Zola from the Arizona Clean Elections Commission for joining us for this very important discussion on the 2024 election on Tuesday, July 30th, 2024. Avery, do you have any final comments before we close?
Yeah, I do, Dana. First, I want to thank AARP for the opportunity to speak with the members. And I know this information was helpful, and I hope that you can, use it to be better informed. Arizona has comprehensive voter information through some of the agencies we spoke about today. The Secretary of State puts out a publicity pamphlet that's going to have all your ballot measures, propositions, and things like that. Kind of gives the explanation for them. We have our Clean Elections Voter Education Guide that comes out for the primary election and for the general. It gives you information about the candidates, how to contact your county reporters, and also what kind of ID that you need. And we also have our debates. So we're going to have some federal debates, which is the U.S. Senate and the congressional debates, our legislative debates, and some county debates and state. So all of our debates are available online. So please take the time to be informed. And remember that you need to re-register if you change your name, address, or political party. And other than that, it has been a pleasure to speak with you all, and we have a busy election season ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Avery, and thanks to all of you for joining us on our and participating in this teletown hall to talk about the upcoming Arizona elections on Tuesday, July 30th. We apologize if we were not able to get to your question during this call. We encourage you to reach out directly to the Secretary of State's office at azsos.gov. If you have questions about how to cast a ballot, either in person or by mail. The email for AZ Clean Elections is azcleanelections.gov. That's their website. And you can also find valuable information on the upcoming elections at aarp.org/AZ votes. That's aarp.org/AZ votes. We hope that this call was helpful to everyone. We appreciate everyone's time and participation. Thank you and have a great day. And this concludes the call.